It is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Matt Nosenchuk, our new Lerner Family Associate Dean for Public Interest and Public Service Law, who just started this spring. Dean Nosenchuk has more than 3 decades of experience as a civil rights and constitutional lawyer, having served in senior roles across the Departments of Justice, Education, Homeland Security, and State, as well as the White House. Through his career, he's dedicated himself to advancing public service, civil rights, and equal justice under law, and we're incredibly excited to have him leading and supporting the next generation of public interest lawyers here at GW. Especially thrilled to have him here today at an event so focused on celebrating service and all of your contributions to the community. Please join me in welcoming Matt Nosenchuk.
Thank you, Anna Paula, for the introduction and for the outstanding job that you've done to organize today's ceremony. Can we have a round of applause for Anna Paula? Also, I want to recognize Mark Fleischacker, the chair of our Public Interest Advisory Council and a huge supporter of this program, Dean Cohen, Dean Solario, and of course, Dean Matthew. And on behalf of the entire GW Law community, thank you for being here to celebrate the class of 2026. To our graduating students, you came to law school to learn how to use the law for good. And today, we're here because so many of you didn't wait to use it to make good on that commitment. You used the law to help people who otherwise would not have had representation. That matters enormously to those clients you served, and it reaffirms the values of our GW Law community. We are so proud of you. Pro bono work is one of the noblest traditions of the legal profession. When Clarence Earl Gideon, an obscure Florida convict, hand-wrote a letter to the Supreme Court, lawyers took his case pro bono, and Gideon v. Wainwright established the right of every criminal defendant to counsel. Pro bono lawyers helped Thurgood Marshall to reverse the doctrine of separate but equal in Brown versus Board of Education, and represented Edith Windsor in the case that challenged and struck down the Defense of Marriage Act. Landmark victories that changed society for the better. These cases were won because lawyers believe that justice shouldn't depend on the size of your wallet, and your commitment to pro bono work carries on that tradition. This year, 261 graduating 3Ls contributed a combined 73,915 hours of pro bono service over the course of their GW careers. That deserves applause. Those hours went to people facing incarceration, families navigating the courts without a lawyer, immigrants and refugees seeking safety, communities fighting for racial justice and an escape from poverty. Lives were changed because a GW law student showed up. You appeared in court, drafted filings, and conducted careful legal research and writing that can mean the difference between someone going home or going to prison, between a family staying together or being torn apart. The top placement for pro bono hours was right here through the pro bono opportunities that we at GW Law identified, followed by the DC Superior Court, the Maryland Attorney General's Office, and the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. The graduates being honored today completed at least 50 hours of pro bono work and will receive GW Law's Pro Bono Service Award. Those who completed more than 100 hours will also receive the George Washington University President's Service Award, as well as our Exceptional Pro Bono Service Award, represented in a pin that's bronze, silver, or gold, just like the Olympics, reflecting the depth of their commitment to the public good. We need that commitment now more than ever. We are living through a moment when the legal profession is being called upon to do something it has always done and had the potential to do when it is at its best: stand between power and the people it harms. In 2025 alone, organizations like Lawyers for Good Government deployed $50 million in pro bono legal services defending democracy and the rule of law, responding to widespread political pressure that had sidelined nearly $1 billion in traditional pro bono capacity. Pro bono lawyers filed briefs before the Supreme Court defending the constitutional structure of independent federal agencies. thousands of volunteer attorneys mobilized to provide free legal guidance to federal workers who were fired because, as one organization put it, our nation's civil servants are the backbone of our democracy and they're under attack. As one of those leading this charge put it, when institutions and communities are under attack, it's our job as lawyers to stand in the gap. This is your job now, too. You are entering the profession at a pivotal moment, and the work you do, whether in a big firm, a public interest organization, in government, or in solo practice, will determine the kind of country that we are. So the recognition you're receiving today is both a culmination and a beginning. Tens of millions of Americans face civil legal issues every year with no legal help, not because there aren't enough lawyers, but because legal help remains out of reach for most people. You can be part of the answer. The ABA asks every lawyer to commit at least 50 hours of pro bono service a year. I'm asking you to take that commitment seriously, not as a box to check, but as a core part of your identity as a lawyer and as a person. Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to Congress in 1968, and the first woman to run for a major party's presidential nomination, said it best: service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. That is as true for lawyers as it is for anyone, and truer still because you have been given tools most people do not have. The commitments you make and fulfill today, the reflex to ask, how can I help, will define your career and your character. Congratulations, class of 2026. Remember this day as an affirmation of your commitment to service. It is now my great honor to introduce our dean, whose unwavering commitment to the public interest and public service law program make this celebration and so many other things possible. Dean Dana Bone Matthew.
This is a great time of year generally, but these are the people and the families with whom I call my people. I am most excited to start this incredible commencement celebration with. Thank you so much, Dean Nosenchuk. Thank you so much, Anna Paula. And thank you so much, graduates of the class of 2026, for entrusting us with the privilege of being a part of your educational journey. I am happy to celebrate your outstanding pro bono success. As many of you know, public service is near and dear to my heart, so I consider you my people. After what we've witnessed in these past 3 years that you've been here with us at GW, it is clear that now, more than ever, your commitment to serve the public good, to defend the rule of law, and to give meaning to those words emblazoned over the Supreme Court, equal justice under law, are more necessary than ever. If you pause to think about each of the cases that Dean Nosenchuk just spoke of, the very rights that he listed are under threat and attack today. Think about the rights of criminal defendants in our Supreme Court's most recent Fourth Amendment cases. Think about the right to trial by jury. Think about the right to overcome separate but equal. These rights are not self-perpetuating. They are indeed not assured without your vigilance. And that is why we are so proud and so grateful to celebrate your commitment to pro bono work, not only as students, but we hope for the rest of your careers as lawyers. Not only was your service completely voluntary, but it was used to help people in many of the ways that Dean Nosenchuk listed. You passionately represented underserved clients across our law school, across clinics, and across the District of Columbia. Among the many honorees that we will celebrate today, there are those who fought to preserve the planet and combat climate change with organizations like Client Earth, American Rivers, and the EPA. You worked with the Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project towards exoneration of those wrongfully convicted. You fought to assure safety and perfect protection for immigrants and refugees with groups like CASA and the Central American Resource Center. You stood up for the vulnerable, for tenants in DC Superior Court, and so much more. But if you'll allow me, I'd like to speak to you about 3 impacts that pro bono work has. After all, you will hear me probably many times during this weekend recall the first sentence of this law school's mission statement. The George Washington University Law School is a global law school that exists to have an impact on the law. Focusing on that word impact, your pro bono work first has an impact on justice. You think about the fact that someone who walks into court with a lawyer from the George Washington University Law School has now got a lawyer to fill what otherwise would have been an empty chair. Take, for example, the statistic that tells us that in the District of Columbia, 34,000 eviction notices are filed each year. Of that 34,000 people who will lose their home, 95% of them appear in court without an attorney. They go by themselves. But compare that to the fact that 95% of the landlords who they will appear with are represented by lawyers. So your pro bono work has an impact, again, on justice. Secondly, your pro bono work has an impact on communities. You may represent a single mother or a single father in a small consumer rights case, but the damages that you win may be just what is needed to pay tuition for a high school student who will later become a college graduate, the first in their family to go and do the kind of work that will literally change communities. Pro bono work has a ripple effect. It's a pebble that goes out into communities. But please don't forget the third impact, and that is the impact on you, the lawyer. Pro bono work allows you to hold a mirror up to yourself and answer proudly the question, what kind of lawyer do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be? For what do I want to use the legal education that has been invested in me? These are the impacts we hope that you will carry with you far beyond today, and indeed for the rest of your life. We hope that you will do work for which you receive no salary, no credit, no stipends, but the thanks of the impact on justice, on communities, and on yourselves. I want to say thank you to an important group, in addition to those who are graduating, because the heart to do pro bono work does not come easily or automatically, but it comes from communities and families, parents, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, mentors, and role models. Graduates, would you join me in applauding your families who have made it possible for you to win these awards today? Now, before I end, I do want to extend my deep gratitude, of course, to Dean Nosenchuk, to Dean Alan Morrison, to Mark Fleischecker, and to the amazing Anna Paula. But I also want to say thank you to Erin Kelly, Hope Anderson, and Gail Bell, our staff who made this possible. Would you help me to thank them as well? So now let's get on with the show of celebrating, applauding the exciting stars, the students from the class of 2026. Raise high.
Thank you so much to Dean Matthew for those very thoughtful remarks. Before we get to the awards, we have a couple other deans in attendance who also want to express their support and gratitude to our graduates. I would first like to invite Dean Rosa Solorio to the podium. She is our law school's Associate Dean for International and Comparative Legal Studies and has also dedicated her life to public service.
First of all, good morning. It's such a privilege and honor to be here with all of you today. And I want to thank Ana Paula for the wonderful job with this ceremony, also the Shock, all the leadership that we have here of our public interest program. One of the aspects that makes me the most proud to be at this law school is the strength of its commitment to public interest and public service, and students like you, students that have already dedicated part of their legal studies to public interest. And I want to thank you all, especially the students here today, for devoting so much time to helping people, to advancing the public good. And I know it's hard to be a law student. You don't have a lot of time. You do have choices in terms of what to do. So I really recognize and applaud today the fact that you have used a lot of your time already, even before graduating, to helping a lot of people. And I have to say, one of the biggest honors that I've had in my career is to be able, to be a public service attorney, but also do a lot of pro bono work. So I am so proud of all of you, I have to say, I see a lot of familiar faces, and one of my favorite parts of this ceremony is that I get to recognize a lot of you and the journey, that you've had at the law school, and I am so, so lucky to have been able to be part of that journey, right? And I hope that the journey continues. I always tell alums that the fact that you left doesn't mean that you left. You're still ours forever, right? So hopefully I will continue seeing you and we will stay in touch. And I really hope that the pro bono work that you've already done in law school leads you, to a career full of social service. And remember that you can have a career full of social service no matter where you are. You can do this in law firms, in corporations, in public interest organizations, in academia. At the end of the day, there's a lot of different ways of doing public service, so I encourage you to do it wherever you are, right? And I also want to salute, I've seen so many of you, especially in these difficult times, have grit and spirit and determination and deep resolve, during your GW Law School studies. And I think that's something to truly celebrate this weekend. I admire you, and I will never forget you. And I just want to say a few things, and this is something that some of you have already heard me say, but I think it's worth repeating. I know this is a very, very difficult time in this country. It's also a very difficult time in international affairs. It is full of waves, it is full of crisis, it is full of unpredictability, right? We're all trying to survive, a very, very difficult moment. I'm a big student of history and international affairs. This is why I do international law. And when you study history, there have been so many different moments of crisis. And one thing that for me has always been so surprising about history is that people get to choose who they are in a crisis, right? You can be cynical, right? You can choose to be cynical and sit back, right? And not do anything for those around you. Or you can be a beacon of hope, a beacon of light. You can use the skills that you have to help people. And one thing that I can tell you today is that as soon as you walk out of this law school, you have this incredible tool. You have power, you have influence, you have respect, not just in the United States, but anywhere in the world. You are gonna be a lawyer, and that commands, weight and authority. And a lot of people will be listening to you. And a lot of people that are voiceless are gonna be looking up to you to see what they should be doing in this particular moment. I always tell my students, I really hope that you choose light in darkness, that you choose hope, that you choose to help people, that you choose to advance values, right? The values of rule of law and peace and human dignity and human rights and equality. And regardless of the time that you are, remember, you don't control context, right? But you control how you react to that context, and you're gonna be basically armed with skills and a tool that not many people have, and I hope you use it for good to help people. Again, I admire you. I've treasured my time with you. I hope we stay in touch, and I also hope that the future times, come that are calmer, and I do hope that we continue our collaboration regardless of what's happening in the context, right? And that we can move forward as well. And again, please celebrate this weekend. What you're earning this weekend is incredible. From now on, nobody can take away this law degree from you, okay? So I hope you use it for good. Thank you again.
Next, I would like to invite Dean Laurie Cohn. Dean Cohn serves as the law school's Jeffrey and Martha Cohn Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, a professor of law, and the director of the Family Justice Litigation and Access to Justice Clinics.
There have been such great remarks already, and I'm a litigator, so I'm sort of tempted to say I rest my case. But I'm going to say a few things. Congratulations to all of you. As a student who completed significant pro bono hours, you came to law school with a commitment to public service and to do good. And despite the very arduous work of law school, your financial obligations, the stress of finding summer jobs and postgraduate jobs, you actually held on to that commitment to giving back. And you are a particularly remarkable group because you turned that commitment into action. And as a group and as individuals, your actions made a difference in the lives of those who needed your legal support to give them a voice. And many of you translated that commitment into action in the clinical program here at GW by advocating as student attorneys on behalf of society's most marginalized individuals. Your actions gave those clients a voice, an advocate, a champion, making the path to justice that much more attainable for them. While only some of your clinic hours can be counted towards your pro bono recognition, it's worth mentioning that this year alone, 222 students were enrolled in the clinical programs, and in just this year, that group of students devoted over 45,000 hours to public interest lawyering. So now, as others before me have said, we ask you graduates not only to cling tightly to your commitment to public interest, but to continue to take action based on that commitment. You are, as we've all said, entering a world that needs your action more than ever. And we know this group is particularly up to the task. Congratulations.
We finally reached the portion of this event I'm sure you're all waiting for. But before I begin calling names, I just want to welcome Dean Nosenchuk and Dean Matthew to the stage. I'd also like to give just a few quick instructions. So in order to move through this without any bumps, we'd like for our honorees to line up over on the stairs in groups by last name. So I have a volunteer up there who will be holding up letter signs with letters of the alphabet. When you see the first initial of your last name, you can head on over, and you'll be arranged then in alphabetical order. So I'd like to first take a second and thank my volunteers that you're going to see. We have Hope Anderson from the Field Placement Office. And Erin Kelly from the Career Development Office. On stage, we have Gail Bell from the library. And as is dragged into this event every year, my husband Nick will be holding up the letter signs. So if graduates with last names beginning in A and B, if you could please make your way over now, that would be much appreciated. Once your name is called, you will get an award from either Hope or Erin Kelly. And then you will head to the center of the stage for your photo with Deans Nosenchuk and Matthew. We do have a mic right over here that is available if you would like to give additional remarks. Any of you that submitted shout-outs in advance, they'll be up here. They will be read out loud. But if you have anything else you'd like to say, or if you didn't submit anything, you're welcome to use this here. Any faculty or staff in attendance is also free to use that if they wish to make any comments for any particular graduate. So I'm gonna give them one more quick second to start getting lined up. But I do see that the first student is in place and ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Bianca Abate. Bianca is grateful to her family, friends, and mentors for their support through law school and looks forward to continuing her commitment to public service in her legal career. Christine Aqua. Christine would like to thank her family and friends for their endless support throughout law school and for instilling in her the importance of giving back. Naomi Adafris. Naomi would like to thank her father for teaching her that success is not measured just by financial wealth and professional accomplishments, but by the positive impact one makes through giving back to others. Jennifer Amin. Jennifer wants to give a shout out to her supervisors at the Maryland Office of the Public Defender, Stephanie, Uranitza, and Sean, for supporting her on her journey to become a public defender. Jennifer will be joining the King County Department of Public Defense. Maxine Ann. Maxine would like to thank her family and friends for always being supportive. She's grateful for the opportunities that GW Law gave her. After law school, Maxine will be joining Hogg Partners LLP as a first-year associate in their antitrust practice group. David Bambou. David would like to thank his friends and family for their support over the past 3 years and all the great people he worked with at Neighborhood Legal Services Program. Megan Bang. Megan would like to thank her family, especially her husband Ian. Without their unwavering support, this all would have not been possible. She would also like to thank every mentor who helped instill in her a sense of service and dedication. Joshua Barclay. Joshua would like to thank Jesus Christ, his Lord and Savior, who made these past 3 years possible. Shout out to God. Mia Barkenbush. Mia would like to thank her family for supporting her through the last 3 years and helping her become the person she is today. After graduation, Mia will be joining the family division of the New Jersey Superior Court as a judicial clerk. Becky Benezra. Jada Bourne. Jada would like to thank her parents for supporting her passion for public service throughout law school. She'd also like to thank GW Law's Public Interest Pre-Orientation Program for being her first introduction to the many amazing public interest opportunities. Alexander Bugg. Alex would like to thank his family, his girlfriend Lindsay, and his friends for their endless love and support the last 3 years. He'd also like to thank GW Law for the opportunity to use his legal education to do important pro bono work in the DC community. Abigail Burgess. Justin Cayago. Justin completed 317 hours of pro bono service at the Queens Legal Services and United States Commission on Civil Rights. Daniel Shagnon. Daniel would like to thank his parents for their constant support and for instilling in him the values that have guided his public service work. He looks forward to continuing to serve his community through the new platform his legal education has provided. Aria Haley Annie Charles. Aria would like to thank her parents, family, friends, and professors for their endless support throughout her law school journey. After law school, Aria will be joining the New York City Law Department as Assistant Corporation Counsel. Akansha Chaudhry. Sue Chi Chen. Sue Chi would like to thank her mom, uncle, and aunt for traveling from across the United States and the Pacific Ocean to attend this ceremony. She'd also like to thank her dad for his support and her sister for giving her a reason to survive law school. Henry Hyung-rae Cho. Henry dedicates this achievement to his mother, the steadfast force behind his legal education. Driven by the values she instilled, he focused his pro bono work on upholding fairness and providing a strong voice for those navigating the law. Mariam Chowdhury. As a first-generation American, Mariam's commitment to immigrant advocacy was inspired by her parents' hard work and sacrifices, and she's grateful to have interned at the Asian Pacific American Legal Resource Center during law school. Elias Christensen. Elias completed 437 hours of pro bono service at the D.C. Superior Court for the Honorable Carl E. Ross. Kenny Chung. Kenny would like to thank his parents, sisters, grandfather, and Pomeranian Sparkles for their endless support throughout the past 3 years. He would also like to thank his friends and professors for inspiring him here at GW. Adam Cook. A desire to serve the public brought Adam to law school, and he's incredibly grateful to every professor and program here that has helped to nurture and strengthen that passion. Oscar Eli Copeland. Oscar's pro bono work reflects his commitment to people-centered advocacy. He believes practicing law is a privilege and hopes to keep using his privilege to serve, support, and advocate for others. Juliana Marie Crosby. Juliana would like to thank her family and friends for their support throughout law school. After law school, Juliana will be joining the state's attorney's office for the 20th Judicial Circuit of Florida as an assistant state attorney. Haley Curtis. Haley would like to thank her brother Tommy, who inspired her to become a public defender, her mom for her endless love and support, all the public defenders who zealously advocate for those in need, and every client who entrusted her to work on their case. Philip DeCoco. Philip's pro bono service includes his time at D.C. Superior Court, the Environmental Protection Agency, and Beth Israel Lahey Health. He would also like to thank his family, friends, and mentors for their endless support over the past 3 years. Allison Taylor Deutsch. Allison would like to thank both her boyfriend and fellow JD graduate, Jonathan, for supporting her, as well as the incredible environmental and energy law faculty at GW, whose passions inspired her to pursue opportunities in environmental law. Sylvester Drab. Sylvester completed 353 hours of pro bono service for the Association of Prosecuting Attorneys. Fen Duarte. Fen completed 400 hours of pro bono service for the Superior Court for the District of Columbia. Gabrielle Edevital. Gabrielle would like to thank her colleagues at the Office of the Federal Register for the opportunity to serve her community and engage in pro bono service. Elena Barbara Edwards. Elena would like to thank her parents for their unconditional support throughout her education, her hobbies for keeping her sane throughout law school, and her close community at GW Law for carrying her forward. On to the next chapter. Sarah Icola. Sarah would like to thank her parents, friends, and boyfriend for their support, as well as all the professors at GW Law who have helped her along the way. Emma Engels. Emma completed 195 hours of pro bono service for the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. Hunter Fairchild. Hunter Fairchild completed 214 hours of pro bono service for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office of Principal Legal Advisor, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. Sinyan Fan. Sinyan would like to thank her parents for their unwavering support and encouragement throughout her law school journey. Their love have become a quiet source of strength and compassion, filling her with kindness to the world and to others. Peter Fasoli. Peter would like to thank his parents and everyone else that have helped him along the way. Bruna Gialbuquerque Gadelia. Bruna dedicated her pro bono service to the United Nations Goal 10 to reduce inequalities, the Court of Appeals of Virginia, VITA IRS Advanced Tax Assistance, and the Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project. She thanks God for placing her the commitment to help others. Bridget Gidlow. Bridget would like to thank her parents, Kim and Terry Gidlow, for their unwavering love and support through her every endeavor. She shares everything she will ever accomplish with them. Sam Girioni. Sam completed 320 hours of pro bono service at the Maryland office of the Attorney General. Sam Glenn. Sam thanks his parents and step-parents, his best friend and wife, Jessica, and Jamila and Davi for inspiring him to work hard and make them proud. This fall, he'll start his career as a public defender, fighting for the most vulnerable against state power. Josephine Gray. Josephine wants to thank her parents because it is through their hard work, guidance, and unwavering support that she has become a lawyer. Their belief in her gave her the strength to persevere, and she carries their values with her every day. Calvin Hensel. Calvin would like to thank his parents for their support and sagely advice through everything. He would also like to thank every person who dedicates themselves to public defense, especially Professor Rachel Chickerell, who put her all into making the world better. Benjamin James Heidloff. Benjamin completed 397 hours of pro bono service at the U.S. Department of Commerce, Office of General Counsel, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. Amanda Hitches. Amanda completed 180 hours of pro bono service for the Prisoner Civil Rights Clinic at the law school. Lauren Hill. Lauren served at the Death Penalty Information Center, working to inform the public about the issues associated with capital punishment. Lauren would like to thank God, her family, and her friends for their endless support during law school. Ella Hillier. Ella completed 50.5 hours of pro bono service at Tualatin Together and the U.S. Tax Court. Claire Hodges. Claire would like to thank her family and friends for their endless support. Summer Hughes. Summer would like to thank her parents, Matt and Kim, whose unwavering support made it possible for her to pursue more than a decade of unpaid government and human rights work. Their generosity gave her the freedom to chase her dreams. Zoe Jacobs. Zoe's pro bono service includes the public defender's offices in D.C., Alaska, Virginia, and Maryland, as well as the GW Law Prisoner and Reentry Clinic. After law school, Zoe will be joining the public defender's office in Seattle. Star Johnson. Star thanks her parents, Piney Johnson, David Johnson, and her siblings Amira, Hassan, and Ahmad for their support through law school. She dedicates this award to her aunt, Nimpio Dorothy McKinney, a longtime civil servant and one of the first African-American demographers. Thank you, Aunt Dot, for paving the way. Olivia Jones. Inspired by her clinic professors and fellow students, Olivia looks forward to continuing to advance health justice in her community and throughout her legal career. Olivia would also like to thank her parents, Shelley and Tim, for their endless love and support. Molly Edersheim Cobb. Molly would like to thank her friends and family for their unwavering support, her parents for inspiring her passion for public service, and her incredible professors from whom she learned so much about pro bono work. Navreet Kaur. Navreet would like to thank her family and friends without whom she could not have made it here. She has always been passionate about helping others and is grateful to have had the opportunities to do that in a legal context. Nicole Keenan. Nicole would like to thank her mom, dad, brother, and uncle, her friends, and Teddy for their unwavering support, patience, and belief in her. They carried her through every challenge and celebrated every step. This achievement is as much theirs as Nicole's. Aditi Karad. Aditi is so thankful to the public interest community at GW for making these 3 years so rich and fulfilling and giving her the best friends and mentors ever. She will begin her career as an IJC fellow at the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project. Lauren Lebec. A long-standing commitment to public service has guided Lauren's path through law school, and she remains dedicated to using the law to serve others. She shares this recognition with her family who have supported and encouraged her along the way. Abby Larmore. To her mom and dad, every step that led to this moment is because of their dedication and support. They dedicated their lives to service so she could begin a life of service herself. She carries their example with her and hopes to honor it throughout her life. To Ryan, her inspiration and happiness in life, she loves you more than words can say. Olaide Lemoru. Olaide wants to thank God for instilling a desire for service within her heart and thanks her parents for raising her to see the good in helping others. She is proud of everyone's efforts and congratulates the class of 2026. Donxian Lee. Minlu Lee. Minlu completed 65 hours of pro bono service at Women's Law and the Washington Lawyers Committee. Maya Wong Lilly. Maya would like to thank her mom, Nina, for supporting her lifelong dream of becoming a lawyer. She's also grateful she got to dedicate so many hours of her law school career to public interest and criminal justice reform. Grace H. Lynn. Grace would like to thank her parents, professors, and friends for their endless support and kindness. She feels incredibly lucky to have such amazing people in her life and is excited for everything the future has in store. Crystal Leo. Crystal would like to thank her mom for being so supportive and for always encouraging her to explore different paths. She's also grateful to her professors for their guidance and for instilling in her the confidence to pursue what truly matters to her. Nicole Maestas. Nicole would like to thank her mentors, friends, and family for their support and guidance. Participating in pro bono work was the highlight of her law school experience, and she's excited to do more public interest work in her career. Amerith Kaur Mann. Amrit is deeply grateful to her hardworking parents whose journey from Punjab made this achievement possible. Their strength and sacrifice guide her. Her time at GW Law has been an incredible opportunity to learn, and she's excited to carry these values forward. Alfonso Jose Marquez. Alfonso thanks his parents, brother, family, and friends for their constant support and encouragement in helping him get through these last 3 years. Evie Markey. Evie would like to thank her mom and dad, who spent their entire careers dedicated to public service, and for being the reason she is pursuing a career in public service today. She would also like to thank the amazing public defenders she's worked for. Samuel Marshall. Samuel would like to thank his family for supporting him throughout his law school journey. He would especially like to thank his mom for being a great inspiration and helping him stay focused and positive. Alexa Marsh. Alexa would like to thank her parents for their support these past 3 years and her personal and professional mentors who've instilled in her the importance of service and giving back to the community. Byron Martinez. Byron would like to thank his parents for their sacrifices and reminders to keep shooting for the stars. The last 3 years would not have been possible without them or his friends' support. He also thanks Dean Caesar and Dean Cohn for believing in him. Liliana McDermott. Liliana would like to thank her mother and father, both attorneys, for their excellent record of pro bono service. Connor McMahon. Connor believes the government should benefit its people, so he worked for the DEA, USAO for DC, and State Department. Connor would like to thank his mother and dad for instilling that belief, among others, in him and supporting him his entire life. Evan Malo. Evan completed 400 hours of pro bono service at the DC Superior Court for Judge Darlene Soltis. Ilone Mengistu. Ilone would like to thank her parents for instilling in her the value of service. She's grateful to have had the opportunity during law school to use her legal education to aid her community, a practice she intends to continue throughout her career. Diana Metz Arguello. Diana would like to thank her loved ones for their support during the past 3 years. Community service has always played a role in Diana's life, and she's grateful for the opportunity to continue that with the U.S. District Court and the GW Immigration Clinic. Nicholas Moeller. Nicholas's pro bono service includes his time at the United States Department of Commerce and the Maryland Office of the Attorney General. After law school, Nicholas will be joining the Civil Division of the Department of Justice as a trial attorney. Nina Mokber Shaheen. Nina completed 336 hours of pro bono service at the Administration for Community Living and the Jacob Burns Community Legal Clinics. Krines Punga. Krines would like to thank God for making it all possible. She would also like to thank her family for their unwavering support and helping survive law school. Krines' message to her friends is, "We did it, and I'm proud of us." Navya Nagubadi. Serving her community and uplifting the voices of marginalized peoples everywhere has always been and will continue to be an important part of Navya's life. Free Congo, free Sudan, free Palestine. Elia Nasaj. Elia would like to thank his fiancée, Jillian, for her endless support. Behind all the hours Elia has committed to school, work, and community service, Jillian has sacrificed just as much of her own time just to ensure Elia can continue doing what he loves. Ashlyn Nazari. Ashlyn spent her time with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in their Felony Trial Division. After law school, she'll be joining the Middlesex District Attorney's Office in Massachusetts as an Assistant District Attorney. Alexandra Neary. Allie would like to thank her family for their continued and unwavering support during her time at law school. She's thankful to the Field Placement Office for providing such meaningful opportunities to connect with and serve the DC community. Portia Wokuku. Portia completed 352 hours of pro bono service at the DC Public Defender Service. Patel Rutu Tejas Kumar. She contributed 120.5 hours to the Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project, conducting vital case intake and legal research for the incarcerated. She thanks her family and friends for their encouragement during this rewarding advocacy work. Bryce Phillips. Bryce would like to thank his partner, Emily, as well as his friends and family for their support during the past 3 years. Bryce would also like to thank Dean Cohn and Dean Caesar for emphasizing the importance of pro bono work. Sai-Jen Chow. Sai-Jen completed 183 hours of pro bono service at the Jacob Burns Clinic's Small Business and Community Economic Development Clinic. Julia Quintao Freid. Julia is thankful to the Library of Congress for the opportunity of giving back and to GW for all the doors her LLM opened for her. She's grateful to her husband who supported her in this journey and her parents that flew from Brazil to celebrate with her. Yesenia Camila Ramos. Camila would like to thank her parents and partner for their unwavering support and encouragement throughout her journey. Their sacrifices have been a driving force behind her decision to pursue a legal education and commitment to advocate for others. Kaylee Reyes. Kaylee would like to thank her parents and fiance for their love and support throughout the last 3 years. She'd also like to thank the Information Law Division at the U.S. Department of Commerce for inspiring her to pursue a career in data privacy law. Jayla Ritchie. Shaped by family and a Southern Louisiana upbringing, Jayla has sought to integrate service into every facet of her life and is grateful for the opportunity to serve. She remains dedicated to key issues and thanks her family for instilling these values. Abigail Riggs. Abigail would like to thank her family, partner, and friends for all their support over the last 3 years. She's grateful that during her time at GW Law, she was able to contribute to the community through pro bono work. Madeline Francis Rosenstein. Madeline would like to express her gratitude to her family for a lifetime of support. She's grateful to her professors for their guidance, and she thanks her friends for helping her get through the long days but the short 3 years. She also thanks Anna Paula. Marcella Rubini. Marcella wants to express gratitude to her family, closest friends, professors, SBA, the law school community, and the PIPS program, especially Anna Paula and Dean Morrison, for providing her with the utmost support as a public interest law student. Noah Ruffin. Noah completed 754 hours of pro bono service at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, and the U.S. Department of Justice. Nathaniel Sansom. Nate appreciates the support of his family and friends. Kushal Shah. Kushal would like to thank his parents for always pushing him to do the right thing and to help others. He would like to thank Professor Morrison and Anna Paula for giving him the tools to do so. Finally, he wishes to honor the memory of his friend, Brian Beam. Cheyenne N. Sharman. Cheyenne would like to thank her mother for being an incredible role model and exemplifying the importance of giving back to her community. Andrew Siak. Andrew dedicates this award to his parents, Kai and Hui, whose generosity and charitable values taught him that the most noble use of one's education is aiding those in need. He also thanks Leah Berry, Judge Dason, and Commissioner Johnson for their mentorship. Cole Sitabutar. Cole would like to thank his mother for her immense wisdom and his father for his boundless creativity. He would also like to thank his friends, both in Kansas and DC, for their support. He could not have done it without all of you. Sasha Isabel M. Silva. Catherine Ann Smith. Kat believes that service to others and the community is the best thing a person can do. She would also like to thank her parents and fiance Zach for all their support and encouragement. Sun Woo Son. Sun Woo would like to thank her parents for being endlessly supportive. She's graduating law school with resilience, purpose, and deep gratitude for everyone who supported and challenged her along the way. Danielle Spira. Danielle would like to thank her parents for every late night call, every word of encouragement, and being the steady foundation that helped her get here today. She's also grateful for her pro bono work at the DOJ, strengthening her commitment to advocacy. Callie Stevens. Callie's pro bono service includes the U.S. Air Force JAG Corps and the D.C. Superior Court. After law school, Callie will be clerking at the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. She wishes to thank her professors, friends, parents, and partner for their support. Henry Stewart Wood. Henry completed 273 hours of pro bono service at the Washington State Court of Appeals. Julia Tamburello. Emilia Tapia Jimenez. Emilia would like to thank her mother for her endless unconditional love and support. Jenny Tavares. Jenny is deeply grateful to her parents who always encouraged her to help others in any way she can. Their unwavering support motivated her to dedicate her time and legal skills to serving communities both near and far. Marie Taylor. Marie would like to thank her community for teaching her that we are all connected and that when one of us fails, we all feel the impact. This has shaped her belief in showing up for others because collective strength is what allows everyone to succeed. Nicholas Teachnor. Nicholas completed his pro bono work at FEMA, the Court of Federal Claims, and through the Prisoner and Reentry Clinic. Through his clinic work, Nicholas and his partner helped to get a client released from prison after being incarcerated for over 2 decades. Leslie K. Thomas. Leslie would like to thank her family, friends, and mentors / soon-to-be colleagues for their steadfast support and encouragement over the past 3 years. Cleveland Thornhill. Cleveland's pro bono service includes the General Services Administration, U.S. Court of Federal Claims, and Maryland's Department of General Services. After law school, Cleveland will work as a law clerk in Prince George's County Circuit Court. Reem Turk. Reem is grateful GW gave her the opportunity to channel her passion for international law into unforgettable life and work experiences. She thanks her family, friends, mentors, and professors from the bottom of her heart for their incredible support. Omer Turkomer. Omer would like to thank his friends and family for their unwavering support throughout law school and the attorneys who mentored him and helped him find his path toward a career in public service. Ebony Upshaw. Ebony would like to thank her family and friends for their constant support throughout law school and along the journey that led her here. She has loved exploring different areas of law while giving back to the public and can't wait to continue. Maria A. Velázquez. Maria thanks her family, friends, and professors for their unwavering support throughout law school. Her work on Latin American legal issues at the Department of Commerce deepened her commitment to pro bono advocacy and uplifting the Latin American community. Kevin Vo. Kevin thanks his partner, friends, and family for their support the past 3 years. He entered law school with the goal of serving the public as reflected in his pro bono work. He looks forward to becoming an immigration attorney after passing the bar. Casey Wajaspak. Casey would like to thank her parents for their unwavering love and support. She would also like to thank her friends for the community they've built over the last 3 years and her professors for their guidance and encouragement. Xunyang Wong. Xunyang is honored to receive this recognition for her pro bono service. She extends her deepest gratitude to her family and friends for their support as she completes her legal education and prepares to transition into her professional career. Run Cindy Wong. Runes completed 280 hours of pro bono service at the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office and the GW Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Project. Jacqueline Wyckoff. Jacqueline completed 179.5 hours of pro bono service at the National Consumer Voice for Quality Long-Term Care, Just Neighbors, Quality Trust for Individuals with Disabilities, Criminal Appeals and Post-Conviction Services Clinic, and the Prison Pro Bono Project. Jake Connor Wiley. Jake would like to thank his clinic professor, Kelly Orions, for the opportunity to work with her, his clinic partner, Kenji Yamamoto, for being an excellent teammate, and his significant other, Nicole Timofsky, for her love and support throughout law school. Runza Xu. Runza's proud of herself for making it through the last 3 years and deeply grateful for the unwavering support of her family and friends along the way. She hopes to continue dedicating her skills and commitment to supporting people in need. Logan Jans. Logan would like to thank his wife and family for their ceaseless support. His service includes work in various public defenders' offices in the DMV and clinics with the Christian Legal Aid of DC. Kenji Yamamoto. Kenji would like to thank his mom for her unconditional support, Professor Natalia Blinkova for making him feel at home over the past 3 years, and Professor Kelly Orions for an incredible clinic experience. Kara Yu. Kara is committed to serving her community and has consistently engaged in pro bono work over the past 3 years. Following graduation, Kara will begin her career at the San Diego County Public Defender's Office. Huba Zuman. Huba wants to thank her mother and family for their unending support and for teaching her the importance of giving back to her community. It has been her honor to be part of and to serve the DC community these last 3 years. Carol Viviana Miranda. Carol would like to thank her loved ones for believing in her, from Columbia to GW Law. She will be using her law degree in the practice of immigration and criminal defense with the goal to help individuals get a second chance at improving their lives. And with that, congratulations to the class of 2026. A few more things to note. There is a reception happening in the Great Hall, which is right out here to the left. You should have gotten a wristband when you arrived and checked in. That will be so that you can get access to the reception. If you did not get a wristband, we still have more at the check-in. Just find one of our volunteers and they'll help you out with that. Additionally, if any of you would like to come up here and get a photo in front of your slide with your family, I will stay here and I can pull those up for you. But congratulations.